Today I'm going to pickle some vegetables, and I will talk you guys through the process I use to make 2 pints of pickled vegetables that were in my fridge. And I was so excited to do this project today because I have been obsessed with all things pickled for as long as I know, even as a kid. But I've never actually made it myself, which is so sad. And today I was determined to change that. And after doing it myself, I realized that I will always do it this way from here on out because the process was fun. It was easy. It kind of lets you be a little bit creative, and you can just use whatever you have lying around. Now, if you look a lot into pickling, a lot of people do red onions or purple onions, whatever you want to call them. But I typically don't have those on hand nearly as often as I grab yellow onions. So that's what I went with today. And I love all onions. So any and all of the above, I'm going to be happy with them. I started with chopping the onions, and I was just doing really thin slices, and then I'm going to throw them into that ice bath that's sitting right in front of me. I saw on another woman's YouTube channel that she throws them into an ice bath for, I think, 15 minutes. And this helps just cut back that strong onion punch smell, which I'm not even opposed to, but I wanted to try it because she looks like she's been pickling for her entire life. And if she does it, I'm trying to try it out too. But a big part of this, like I said, I've never done it before. And a big part of my goals that I've talked about in a few of my other videos is slowly transitioning to where I am more self-sufficient and that my family is more self-sufficient. And, in the business world, I have a business mindset and a business background. And, a lot of the books you read or the motivation you kind of look into talk about if we just get 1% better, just 1% better every single day, then imagine, after 365 days, just 1 year of getting 1% better every day, what is that going to look like at the end of a year? And I feel like when it comes to transitioning to more of that homesteading lifestyle and more of that self-sufficiency and more of that, being more independent in the way that you process your food and the way that you make your meals and the way that you raise the food that you eat, it can be really overwhelming if you let it be. But my mindset is I just want to take cracks at making these small steps each day of trying something that I haven't tried before. Now, you're always going to have days where life just hits the fan and, it just doesn't happen. And, that's just part of it. But I feel like a lot of us, we do have a little bit more wiggle room than we think, that we do have the opportunity to try something a little bit different. And for this one, I did it just before I made dinner, and I made sure to make a dinner that didn't take me quite as long as some of my other ones. So it gave me a little bit more time, not a ton. This was actually a very quick project, but it gave me that little bit of time that I needed just to try something different. And I felt so proud of myself after doing this. And like I said, this is like something that now that I've learned how to do it, I want to do it all the time. This will just become part of my routine. And I'm willing to bet that for the rest of 2024, if you had happened to come by my house, I'm probably going to have pickled vegetables in the fridge at all points, now that I know how easy it is to actually do it yourself and, rather than depending on always purchasing those things. Now, I wanted to make my jars pretty colorful, just because it's the first time I'm doing it. I want to make them pretty. And I find that mini peppers are one of the prettiest, most colorful, just fun things that you can add. And I only had 4, but when it's, just 2 little pints like this, 4 goes a long ways. So that's what I started with. And then for the rest of it, I just grabbed things that I have in the fridge that I need to use and that go well with pickling. So I had some celery, I had some carrots, I have a jalapeno that you'll see me use at one point. I didn't even use the whole jalapeno because I actually used the rest of it for the dinner that I was cooking. So that jalapeno got used 3 different ways over the course of this day, which was just, it was perfect. And I don't need it to be super spicy. If you want your jars to turn out with a lot more of a kick, you can add a lot more jalapeno. That's the fun of these, is you kind of build it however you want it to be. And a channel that I was watching before, she also adds red pepper flakes to hers because she likes it to be very spicy. She finds it very dull if it isn't. I am not that way. I actually just love things to be pickled. I love just the flavor of it. And I will like a hint of heat, which is why I added just a little bit of jalapeno in each of mine. But I don't want it to light me on fire per se. But that's, one of those things that you can adjust it and cater it to your flavor palette or your family's flavor palette or whoever it is that will actually be eating this. A lot of times this is just a fun thing to put out for guests when they come over. If you're having people over for dinner, you can pull these out, throw them in a bowl and eat them with cheese and crackers, or make a little charcuterie board and have this as one of the sides, just to have something a little bit different. And it's so much color. So if you're like me and you love things bright and just vibrant looking, this is a really great way to add a color pop to pretty much anything you're trying to do. Now, pickled vegetables have a very unique flavor, so you're not going to put them in just anything. But if you find the right meal to pair them with, or like I said, just like a warm-up, like an appetizer, they can be a really fun addition. Now, back on the thoughts about how overwhelming it can sometimes feel to switch to more of a self-sufficient lifestyle. And I talk about this because I have felt that overwhelm. I think I've just kind of come to terms with how much I have let convenience and the current way that our society is run, I've let it kind of take over how I structure the way that my house is, and I want to reverse that as much as possible. That's one of the biggest goals and biggest focuses for 2024, is going back to those roots of knowing how to prepare things from scratch and knowing how to grow things from scratch and knowing how to preserve things, like we're doing in this video of, if you have all this food or you have these things that you want to last a long time, what are some ways that you can creatively make them last longer, and for you to have the skills to know how to do that? A lot of times I think that if the internet just went down, like tomorrow the internet's gone and it's gone for good. I think some of us, we depend on it so much that if suddenly it wasn't there, a ton of our resources would be lost. And we would kind of be left scrambling of, oh my goodness, like everything I knew how to do was saved on my phone or saved on my laptop, or because of YouTube channels, or because of this or that. And, I don't want to let those thoughts overwhelm my mind. I want to lean on the fact that, hey, I have some survival skills, and I have some food preparation skills, and I have some ways of, I know how to grow some plants, and I know how to save seeds, and I know how to preserve food when I do grow too much, and I know how to work towards having more self-sufficiency for my family. These are words that I want to say so confidently. And, going back to that 1% rule concept, if you just kind of focus on one little thing each day, then over time, those skills will build so monumentally. Like, I think we sometimes get so wrapped up in the final outcome that we forget the actual steps it takes to get there. And the majority of things, kind of no matter what you're looking at, it's starting with small building blocks and just staying consistent. Just keep trucking along and keep pushing forward and keep trying new things. And, just like today, after doing this, I now know exactly how to pickle things into 2 pints. Like, I have exact recipe for the exact amount of brine that I need to make, how many vegetables. I have a rough idea. I kind of eyeballed this today, and I barely had too much. And it was just like, this is a skill that moving forward from today, I now have. Now I'm going to have to continue practicing it. Practice, really builds the strength of those skills. But this is going to be something that I will love to practice because, like I said, now that I know how easy it is to do it myself, I'm going to want to do it all the time. Pretty much any time I have fun, fresh stuff laying around in the fridge, if I don't already have jars going, look at how cute that is. Ugh. But if I don't already have jars going, then I know I can bang this out in like 30 minutes and have 2 fresh new jars and we're good to go. Now, like I said, I had a little extra, so I just chomped down on some celery, which is such a nice perk. Now with the brine, I will put the recipe in the description. This recipe makes exactly 1 quart or 2 pints. Now, depending on what you are trying to accomplish, you need to do the math of multiplying that or, like expanding it or decreasing it, depending on what you're trying to do. But I knew that I was trying to make exactly 2 pints. So that's what the brine recipe came out to, and it was the perfect amount. I barely dumped any. I maybe dumped 2 tablespoons out of the pot that didn't get used, and I honestly think I maybe could have got it to fit in there. I'm not sure, but there was very little waste at all, which was perfect for this. But I know that there are a lot of people just like me who want to do more themselves. They want to kind of fall back on their roots and learn, skills that our ancestors knew that we've kind of let die off, and bring those skills back into the forefront and learn them not only for yourself, but a big thing for me is, you can see my little one in here who was determined to put her foot on the stove. That's always fun. But I want to teach, I want her to grow up seeing me do these things, and for it to just be normal that we preserve our food and we grow our food and we know how to make more food when we need it, and we know how to raise livestock, and we know how to process meat, and we know how to cook meat, and we know how to turn it into bone broth. And, I have this absurdly long list of things that not only I want to learn myself, but these skills that I want to pass on to my next generation, who I hope will hold on to those and cherish those and see those for the value that they are, and potentially continue to pass that on to my grandchildren. And, these are just things that I feel are so important when you really pull your lens back and focus in on what are the things that actually mean the most, and what are the things that make the biggest difference in not only your life, but the life of those that you are, impacting. For me, I feel like self-sufficiency has become such a front runner, and I've, had so much fun going into the journey of learning new tasks. And that's why I have this YouTube. So if you are also looking to expand your skills and try new things and get, 1% better every day, if we can, then stick around, because that's what we're going to keep doing, guys.